Hi, my name is Ralph, and I have an Arduino project that I would like to share with you. So just a little bit about me. I'm a university graduate in agriculture economics, focused on water resources, and this has been my passion throughout all my degree. I think water resources is one of the most underappreciated policies in agriculture today. But it is gaining more and more traction, and there is more focus on how to better manage water, especially on a large scale river basin. One of the things that I find is the lack of data availability. So you want to be able to have data that's fast paced, that you can see water flow, you can see water quality data at a specific area in a river, and there's some other interesting theory out there that could potentially be the future of water management systems. And that is, for example, to create a water trading system on a river, which allows agribusiness to sell water to his or her neighbor with a smart contract or to enforce agreed water volumes. Essentially, we're talking about water conflicts and how to better share water between people that are located on a river. But to do that, you need a lot of sensors. And you can imagine that there are three agribusinesses here located on a river. And on the river here, you have a strain of sensors that are checking how much water there is. But you also need to have sensors placed on every agribusiness to make sure you know how much water has been taken from each sort of agent or each property. So I started to say, how do you actually create these sensors from the ground up? And I used Arduino to create this small type of sensors. And I am very new to this game, so I just learned how to have a microcontroller, what's a sensor. I learned a bit of coding, Arduino, sketches. I learned a little bit about ChatGPT as well. And then I also want to make sure I learn about blockchains. How do you put something on a Google Sheets that turns it into an API that can connect with Chainlink, for example? And it turns out that, yeah, as I mentioned before, you need more sensors in agriculture. I think it's quite obvious to detect environmental aspect, which can significantly improve, create new forms of water policy. But yeah, I found out that it's actually a lot more complicated than I just realized. There's a tremendous amount of things happening, from hardware to software to how to compile it, and it's already write script to send it to an API. All that was a lot for me. So yeah, I turned to the Arduino platform as learning more about it, and it's a great environment. Hands down to the people at Arduino for teaching people, not just children, but also young adults like myself, to learn about what it's like to program and what are the mechanisms behind it. And so I discovered that you have the old ways of designing projects. It is, you should have schematics, circuit boards, sensors, source code, prototyping, minimal viable products, and then you go into manufacturing. But these new ways is sort of coming into play now, where you just need to have a core understanding, and then you use ChatGPT or the new GPT-4. Then you ask them sort of like, what's the most suitable sensors that are available? And then you make a code validation and you make sure you test it. And so I did that. I asked ChatGPT, can you create a code for me on a Wemos D1 Mini? You just want to connect it to a YFB1 sensor to pin D7. And then I want you to create two columns. Create a column with flow rate, liters a minute, and volume on the second column. And then you should connect it to my Wi-Fi network, and then connect that to a Google spreadsheet. And here's the spreadsheet ID. And then I want you to tell me what's going on. So you should tell me all what's happening in the serial monitor display. And I want to see exactly what's going on behind the lines. And it does that. So basically, a lot of the work that has been done to learn the basics of programming, to learn the basics of how to create sensors, all of that really is now a question of what's your creativity? Can you define the task? And are you able to put it all together and understand where these pins need to go? And the results of this project is that, sort of like even like sort of a promotion now to ChatGPT, but literally it's faster work processes to better integrate IoT devices with water policy. And that can in itself change the future of agriculture. And particularly when it comes to water policies or policies in general and technology. And yeah, I think all of this, the Arduino environment and the Arduino community, combined with OpenAI and the implementation aspects, which is where do we actually need to create something new. I think we're seeing a very interesting future ahead of us. So if you want to know more about this, the project name is called Decentralized Mechanisms. My name is Ralph Peterson, so you can always send me an email as well. I prefer that. If you have any questions, or if you think that this could be something that you would be interested to collaborate with, or someone that you think could be interested to collaborate. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and I have my LinkedIn address here. Yeah, thank you so much, and I wish you a pleasant Arduino week.